Shoulders here. Yes, so we're going to come up and just make some nice contact, a little alternating compression, probably a lot of things you do. We're going to feel for the clavicles, and we're going to place the heels of our hands just below the clavicles. Just do a little loosening. If this hand position is either insufficient or embarrassing, you take and you can just use your fingertips, right? Because what we're trying to do is take the upper fibers down away from clavicle. There's also what is that thing that sounds like a Roman emperor, that muscle? Subclavius. The subclavius muscle is right there, just distal. It's a little Roman humor. And so you want to try to create a little space. So you could either use the heels of your hands, the fingertips, or else I'll use like flat thumb or something like that just to get in there, because it's good to loosen away from that bony attachment. So you just feel for a clavicle. And try to approach, if you're using your thumbs, with a flat thumb, because it takes the tension out of your thenar eminence, so it's easier to apply pressure through your arms. Okay. Now we're just going to come down here and do a little petrissage, and then we're going to look for a couple of acupressure points. Okay. So 2 points I'm going to ask you, 3 actually, they're going to feel. And the first one, and I'll just give it the name that it has in shiatsu, is called Gallbladder 21. And it's this also contraindicated in your pregnancy, deeper in your pregnancy. For the same reason, it sends energy down quite a bit. It's called a clearing point. That's why it's so effective in releasing some tension in your shoulders and head and neck, because it's called a clearing point, and it really sends the energy down. So feel on yourself, it's about halfway between the base of the neck and your shoulder. On the highest portion of trapezius, it's like a, bless you, like a, you feel that little bump there? That's, on me it feels like another head is starting to grow. It's pretty prominent on me, because I have scoliosis on that side, so it really, in my neck, so it really builds up here. But this is a very good point. And we're going to find that, and we're going to address all 3 of these points that I'm going to show you bilaterally. So we're going to be doing both sides simultaneously. So after general loosening here of upper trapezius, we're going to feel for the points. So you take your hands palm down and just slide them on the table and feel for that raised point on either side, and you're going to send a pressure that way towards the feet. So when you find the point, you press in, and then you ask the person if you feel like I'm on the point there. So yes, and then the other side. Okay, so, and try to have like even pressure. And your hands are resting on the table, so you don't, it's easy, you're just here and just leaning in a little bit to get the pressure. You're not actively pressing, you're just engaging the point and leaning into it. And you hold. Still on the point? A very good release point. Okay, so the next point is we're going to come off of that, and where our thumbs are, we're going to come down onto the table and a little bit medial and then straight in, and what we're trying to feel for is just above the superior angle of the scapula. Okay, so you should be able to feel the bony protuberance there, the superior angle of the scapula, and immediately above that is not only the attachment of levator scapula, which has attachments on the transverse processes of your neck, but also it's another acupressure point, a triple warmer 15, another classical point to help release tension in the head, neck, and shoulders. So again, it's the same. So you feel for the tip of the scapula and come immediately above that and press in, and then I ask the person, do I feel like I'm on that point?
Yes.
And then both sides, right? You have to ask them to talk you into it. So we'll try this side here.
Yes.
Yes. So once you have the points, you want to adjust yourself as the as the therapist, and just make sure that your hands are supported and leaning in. Right. And just hold that point for a little bit. Yeah, real classic acupressure points for head, neck, and shoulder.
And you'll go around to make sure that I found those points?
Yeah, and then I will, to a certain extent, but also you want to rely on the person that you're working on. They should say, yes, on point, okay? Now the last one is I'm going to come out of that, and it's an acupressure point up underneath the occipital ridge. And this is also the name of Gallbladder 20. So if you feel, and let's see if you can do this bilaterally, please. So take your thumbs and feel for, again, the bony protuberance behind your ear, but it's the mastoid process. You feel? And then you come in about a thumb width medial and bring your chin up, and you should let your thumbs fall into a little dip. Their concavity, that's Gallbladder 20. All right? You feel? Yeah, me too. It's called a wind pond. And why they say that, a lot of tension because of, it's right in the suboccipitals muscles. And if you know suboccipitals, what the suboccipital muscles do is responsible for rocking and tilting of your head. And it's always trying to keep your eyes even with the horizon. So it's always adjusting to try to keep you level with the horizon. But if we're forward like this with the computer, and then we lift our head up like this, it gets crunched and everything gets stuck here. So this is a really good point to help relieve the tension in head, neck, and shoulders. Okay, and here's how we find, right? So again, bilaterally. So we're going to feel for the mastoid processes, and then we're going to come in about a finger width medial, bless you, and then we're just going to lean back and hook your finger up underneath the occipital ridge. You feel? So, bless you. And you want to hold that point. Now you can also hold it this way if you want to scoop your head up like this, and then turn your fingers into it and let the weight of their head go into it. That's also very good. In craniosacral, I think they call this the cranial vault. And the chin should go up in the air, so that sends the weight of their head down onto the point. So you could do it that way. So those 3 points. And then we're just going to do a little traction. So that's the dramatic move for the video. And then we're going to put one hand over the other. So, and you want to hook up underneath the occipital ridge so you can bring the head, just to do a little traction this way. All right, nice little opening of the cervical vertebra. And then we're going to bring it up to stretch it the other way. So from here, we bring the chin as close to the sternum as possible. And if you want to hold that a little bit more, you can just bring your knee and let their head just hang on like that. Right? And then we're just going to take the pads of our fingers and massage the muscles on either side of the spine.
You look so happy.
It takes a while for the medication to kick in. So this, yeah. And then from here, I'll do this way. Right? Nice rocking. To loosen up the back of the neck. And then you want to stabilize here and just lean back, stretch. Nice way of stretching the neck. More on that hug theory that we were doing earlier before. And then to go the other way, you want to apply pressure here, but how to stabilize here, you can just use your forearm right here and just lean in, stretch the neck. It's a nice place to place your forearm right inside the head of the humerus, so you're addressing those upper fibers of pec major, but you're also helping stabilize the body so that you can laterally flex this way. Listening, listening, listening. And a little bit more lateral flexion, so we want to take the head and neck this way. And again, lateral flexion, nose is up. straight up. That's lateral flexion. If you're doing this, that's rotation. So you want to do lateral flexion to get the extent of the stretch here. When we do rotation and over, we're stretching the scalenes a little bit more. But here we get upper fibers of the trapezius. So to stabilize, obviously this or this, you can stabilize with your knee and then just laterally flex the head and neck away. And then pinning and rotating. So you get the scalenes a little bit more. It's okay, man?
Mm-hmm.
Too much?
No, we're good.
Okay. So this is what I'm doing here. So my bottom hand is scooping up and I'm just lifting it up like this so it rotates the head. So my knee is stabilizing the top of the shoulder and my hand is cupping the back of the neck and then I'm lifting it up like this to get the motion. So it's no strain on therapists. So it's a nice myofascial for the opposite side of the neck. One way. Go stabilize. I'm just rolling my pads of my fingers across. Okay, and then just to finish with a little cross arm stretch. So lifting with your legs, right? And then letting it roll to one side so you can add a little stretch this way. And then let it roll this way. Okay. And then fini. This is all. But we're going to end with like hooking our fingers up underneath the occipital ridge, just to apply a little digital compression into the suboccipitals and also a little cervical stretch. You can easily do this kneeling down too. Okay. Okay. Let's try. Thank you.